The 3 lessons entrepreneurs learn in pricing too late. Is your pricing a little bit off? Have you had this feeling in your stomach that you might be either priced too high or too low? Well, in tonight's episode of Entrepreneurship is a Marathon, we'll get into how to appropriately price your business and the key mistakes to avoid when you are discussing the pricing of your product or your service. And what is this show about? Before we get into that, my name is Vanessa Zammy, the best-selling author of Finish, the Solopreneur's Guide to Getting Stuff Done. I'm the creator of the Hustle and Breathe Business Accelerator, through which I consult ambitious 9-to-5ers like you on how to grow their profit-producing, purpose-driven business without the overwhelm. Your efficiency, your productivity, and profitability, so that you can reduce the overwhelm and confusion in your life. You can enjoy your life. Entrepreneurship is a marathon. And if you've chosen to step into that marathon, yes, let's go. So you're listening to Entrepreneurship is a Marathon, or you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. If you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, big red button at the bottom. But every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, yours truly, Vanessa Zammy, here, and I consult business owners on how to revive, grow, and scale their purpose-driven business without the overwhelm, without the burnout, and without failing for another year. As we do it on every episode, what has been your win of the week, right? We need to take the time to celebrate and reward ourselves. Entrepreneurship is a marathon. It is a series of highs and lows, and it's very easy to let the lows take over, but you need to make room for the highs, right? You need to ensure that you are celebrating and rewarding yourself and acknowledging the wins that you have made thus far, right? Either this today, maybe it was the past 7 days since the last episode, right? Or maybe you're just looking at this past year. But what are you grateful for? What has been your win of the week for your business or even for your life, right? Because you are the core of your business. And so whatever happens in your personal life also seeps in and affects your business life, as I always say. So what has been your win of the week? Type it into the comments. Let's celebrate with you. My win of the week? What's been my win of the week? What's my win of the week? Well, I've been packing for a lovely week and a half, where I will be traveling to essentially a couple towns north, but essentially just a different environment, and to just be and reset and refresh on my business and help my clients. Another win of the week, I think, actually has been my clients. Well, more like their business has been a week a win. So my clients are doing very well. It's another win of my week as well too. So it's really great to see different movements and advances that have been made in their business. So really excited about that. And if you're watching the replay, I also want you to participate too, right? So what has been your win of the week? Either type it in the comments below of the YouTube video if you're watching this on YouTube, or type it in the comments of Facebook or LinkedIn, right? So tonight is about the top 3 lessons, right, that entrepreneurs learn too late when it comes to their pricing, right? So lesson number one. Here's the thing. It takes the same energy for you to sell $1 as it does for you to sell something for $1,000, as it does for you to sell something for $10,000. I'm gonna say it again. It takes the same amount of energy for you to sell your product or service for $1 as it does for you to sell it for $10,000, or anywhere in between. A common misconception that entrepreneurs have, right, is that the lower the price, the easier it will be, right? And unfortunately, that's not how it works. So maybe you're in a situation where either you feel like you're priced too high. And usually I don't hear people talking about how they're priced too low. Chances are if you said you were priced too low, you probably increase your price. But usually you might be in a case where you're thinking about changing your pricing because you think you're priced too high. Perhaps you launched out and you have friends and family, maybe you had some other people, and now perhaps you're finding yourself, if you're a service-based business, you're finding yourself on the calls perhaps with people who are saying you're priced too high. They're like, it's too expensive. Or maybe you're selling products and you're finding people are clicking on your website, they're clicking on things, they're adding to the cart, but maybe they're not even adding to the cart, but they're adding to the cart and they're just not finishing, right? No one's buying. Or, maybe you're asking your friends and your family, you're saying something's wrong with the business, I don't know what it is. And they're saying, oh, it's too expensive, that's why you price too high. And that's what happens when you ask friends for advice. So whether you're product-based, service-based, you might be in a space where you're thinking that you're priced too high. So you're thinking to yourself, let me decrease my price, right? You're like, oh, I'm priced too high, let me decrease my price. I'm going to share with you a story of a recent client of mine, and hopefully it'll help to inform you what you should do next. So this client, though, is a service-based business owner, And for her, she's new to business, but intelligently, you know, she decided to hire me as a business advisor to help her get off on the right foot when it came to her pricing and packaging, right? And had she not, well, you're going to find out. So when we first addressed her pricing of her service when going out into the market, and she has 30 plus years experience when it comes to, you know, helping people do the stuff that she's doing, but in a corporate experience setting versus like in her own business. And so when we first, you know, connected together, she was like, okay. I was like, okay, what pricing are you thinking for the business? She's like, well, you know, I'm thinking maybe like $250, $300, you know, for like an hour, 2 hours or so. And here's the thing. Although that is a nice price, right? Very nice price. $250, $350, like very nice price suggestion. But when looking at her experience and when looking at the results that she already had achieved for people in her 30 plus years when she was just doing it, like just, you know, giving away and adding impact and making a positive impact on people's lives in her consulting, but well, it wasn't really business at the time, but in her coaching, consulting, just casually, right, for people and friends and families and strangers and all that jazz. She actually helped people achieve like much more, right, when it came to their value and came to what it is that they actually got from chatting with her. So I managed to inspire her to go up to $1,500, right? And it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable, yet still comfortable for her, where she could still save $1,500 without, you know, like, you know, and we're going to get into a little bit of that a little later here in this episode. But essentially, now she's at $1,500, right? And at the time, she had a potential lead, a potential client in the pipeline to work with her, right? So she had someone who had already reached out to her. And she said, you know what, I'm working with a business advisor to work on my pricing and packaging. I'll let you know when it's ready, right? So when you finish her pricing and packaging, she shared that with the person, the potential client. And the person literally signed the contract and the end, right? And there wasn't any, you know, there wasn't any hustle bustle. There wasn't any back and forth arguments. She said $1,500. The person said, bet, cool, sign the contract, the end, right? And think about it in terms of like the middle power here, right? To think about is that she had the client $1,500. Now, if she had priced at $250, would she have still gotten that client? Sure, of course. She would have still gotten the same client. Probably client would have been like, okay, $250, sure, right? But she also got that same client for $1,500. And there wasn't any additional effort, right? We didn't like change, like, oh, she doesn't have a website. There's no website, right? Like there was no any extra like, okay, $1,500, let's do this, change your colors around. Like, no, there's none of that. It was literally talk to the same person, same conversation, right? And saying she's $1,500 versus $250, right? Just the proposal contract that she sent to the person, instead of saying $250, it said $1,500. That was the only difference, right? And she still got the client. Almost a 10x difference in what she would have been able to get or what she would have thought that she was able to get, right? Had she priced herself too low. Now, maybe someone may say $1,500 is so high for career coaching. $1,500 one session? That's so high, right? There is someone who's going to say that. But at the same time, there are also going to be people who say $250, that's so low. But okay, I guess, right? And so when you think about your pricing, if you're priced too high, it's not so much that you're priced too high. It's that you're not talking to the right people, because it takes the same amount of energy to sell your service for $250 as it does for $1,500. It takes the same amount of energy to sell your cake for $30 as it does to sell it for $75. The difference is not the price. The difference is who you're reaching out to and who you're able to connect with, right? Which is why the marketing is so important. When you're talking about finding and attracting and really understanding who you're talking to and ensuring that you are in the right space and to talk to them, right, to reach them, that is what really matters in your business. It is not the price. Price is not your issue, right? The common misconception is that, you know, if I lower my prices, I'll get more. Like, no, that's not a thing. Now, the second lesson entrepreneurs learn too late when it comes to their pricing. There are 3 lessons. We're on number 2 here, right? The second lesson is, unfortunately, you got to be confident in your pricing, right? You have to be confident in your pricing. And this is definitely relevant for all types of product or service-based business owners, especially if you're a product-based business and you you reach out to people, you're on trade shows or vendor shows selling your products, or if you're a service-based business and you're on the phone with people, right? And the fact is that never go too high and never go too low in your business. There's a comfortable range that you need to be in for your business. That's going to vary by person, because at the end of the day, like, let's say I'm thinking the same client, for example, that I had, right? We ended up at 1,500, but technically, like, we could have done more, right? We could have done higher in pricing, especially she has like an all-inclusive package as well too. We could have done way more, right? But the fact of the matter is, for her, we chose 1,500 for her because that was sort of as high as she could go. That was still somewhat in the realm of comfort for her, right? Based on the knowledge that she had on, just business in general. It was like a level where she was still comfortable with it. Could she go higher? Sure. But for her, it was a level she could go comfortable with it. And there's a lot of stuff out there where people are like, increase your prices, increase your prices, increase your prices. But if you are in a space where you're saying, oh, someone's like, oh, how much is that dress? $75? Right? Like, if you tell someone that, right, and that's how you say it, they're not going to have confidence in that price. They're not going to have confidence in that product, right? They're going to just be like, oh, and they'll go to the next store, right? If you're telling someone, it's like, so, okay, I want to work with you. How much is it? 2,500? 2,500? Right? Again, not the confidence is not going to be there, right? So if you don't have the confidence in your pricing, the person who you're trying to, inspire them and motivate them to buy your product or service to help them with what it is that they need solving, they're not going to have confidence in that product or service, right? Because you don't have confidence in the pricing of your product or service. And so you need to have a level of confidence when it comes to your pricing. And the fact of the matter is, sometimes when people go too low, sometimes you start off low already, right? And perhaps you didn't get a business advisor like my client did, and you started out with $100 for your services or your product, whatever it may be, when it can go even higher. But whatever it may be, right? When you're going too low, you end up putting yourself in a position with your business where you're going to end up getting overwhelmed, stressed out. You're going to end up, getting customers and clients who you don't want to work with, who you don't like having in your realm. It's going to be bad energy overall. And if you're priced too high, you're going to be in a space where you may not be too confident in actually even attracting the people you need to attract who are willing to invest in that amount for your services, right? And so there's a sweet spot when it comes to the comfortable range for your product or service. It's not what everyone else is doing. It's not about it. It's about what is comfortable for you, and also what optimizes your results for your business model, right? Whatever your business model may be. That's really what it comes down to, right? Like, there's one client I work with. She's a product-based business. We managed to increase her sales 43% from this year versus last year as a direct result of strategies that I helped her out with. And none of those strategies included changing the pricing. We did not change the pricing at all of any of her products. I didn't even look at the pricing of her products, right? We didn't touch anything to do with pricing, and yet we still managed to increase her sales by 43%, by $53,000, right, from the previous year, as a direct result of other strategies that I helped her out with, right? Because essentially, sometimes it's not the pricing. It feels like it's the pricing, but sometimes it's actually not the pricing. And so other times it is the pricing, right? And in that sense, it's a matter of figuring out what's a comfortable range for you. We have one more lesson to go. I know it's a lot. So we'll be right back after this short 1-minute break. I want you to think of your questions, gather your thoughts. Feel free to type questions in the comments, even if you're watching the replay, #replay. So type your questions in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling about the video, either reacting, sharing, sharing this video with a friend perhaps who's either trying to start a new business, or they already have a current business they're looking at pivoting, or maybe you told them that their price was too high. So send them this video before they make a terrible mistake and decrease their price. So we'll be right back after this short 1-minute break, and we'll go into the third lesson, the key important lesson that many entrepreneurs, fail to learn too early, right? They learn the lesson too late when it comes to their business. You don't want to miss this. Chat soon. See you in a few minutes. Why getting your business back on track is so important now. Vanessa Zami here, and I consult business owners on how to revive, grow, and scale their business without the overwhelm, without the burnout, without failing for another year. And perhaps that year of failure was this year for you. And you're looking back and you've been frustrated and discouraged. And throughout the year, perhaps you had some short tempers with your kids and with your spouse, with your partner. But that stops now. Are you ready to get back to that time of happiness when you loved your business? Because you know that when your business thrives, you thrive, and everyone else around you thrives as well. My question to you is, how much longer are you willing to wait to unstuck your income, to plan for marketing success, to have a proven business strategy? In other words, how much longer are you willing to wait to make more money,
to make a greater impact in your community, in your city, in your state, in your country, in your world. And if you're the ambitious, purpose-driven CEO that I know that you are, you're not willing to wait any longer. You know that now is the time for you. So if you are ready to revive, grow, and scale your business, then click below to apply to my Hustle and Breathe Business Accelerator to take your business to the next level now.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm taking applications for the next 30 days. We are, almost having the spots are almost filled to join the Hustle and Breathe Accelerator, Business Accelerator, where I consult business owners one-on-one, personalized, customized, tailored attention. You're not lumped into a group. It's literally one-on-one, a business consulting for you to revive, grow, and scale your business in the right way that you want it to. So tonight's episode, we've gone into already the 2 lessons. We have a 3rd lesson but tonight is about the top 3 lessons that entrepreneurs learn too late when it comes to their pricing strategy. So the 3rd lesson, right, we went to lesson number 1 already. And so we potentially it takes the same energy to sell $1 as it does $1,000. Lesson number 2, never go too high and never go too low, right? Find the comfortable range for you. We went into a little bit more about details on how to do that for yourself. Lesson number 3 is that competition doesn't matter. Competition does not matter when it comes to your pricing, right? I touched on this a little bit earlier, right? But the marketing is what is most important when it comes to your business. The marketing and sales. Having the right plan, having the right strategy, having the right business model and marketing plan, right, that fits that model so that you can get the clients and customers that you need, right, and get the sales that you need to have your business thrive. That is what is most important. Competition does not matter, right? So when you're looking at the pricing for your business, it's not about what everyone else is charging. When you do that, you end up in some sort of like pricing war, right? You're going to be like, oh, well, this person charges $5, so I'm charging $5 or like less so I can get more clients, right? It's a little bit of the 2nd lesson that the misconception that people have where, the price, if you get the lower you get, the easier it will be. And it's like, no, that's not what happens. And so at the end of the day, when it comes to your pricing, the 3rd lesson that entrepreneurs fail to learn, they learn it too late, is that competition doesn't matter when it comes to your pricing. What really matters is your marketing and sales that you're using in order to differentiate yourself and make sure that you stand out from the crowd, right? Because it is a crowd. And so ensuring that, especially most businesses are a crowd, unless you're like coming up with like the next, Google, whatever. But generally speaking, you are probably in a crowded market of some sort, right? There are other people like you in your business. And the idea of when thinking about your pricing for your products, don't look at it in terms of, let me look at what everyone else is doing, right? Especially if you have a product business, right? You're going to be like, oh, let me look at what Amazon people have. Let me look at all the vendors on Amazon. Let me look at Target and Walmart and, let me look at what IKEA has, whatever it may be, right? And that's not the idea. You want to ensure that you're looking at who do you want to serve? Look at the right marketing. Look at your business model. Look at, your budget sheet, right? And what's going to make the most sense for you when it comes to your pricing. The lower the price does not make it any easier, right? And so that was lesson number 2. The lower the price does not make it any easier. And so ensuring that when you're figuring out the pricing for your product, that you are making sure that it makes the most sense for you and your business and whatever it may be. And things are going to update and flow. I remember, so one of my before I was in a full-time entrepreneur, I was working in pricing strategy for a retail company, an $8 billion retail company, and $7 billion at the time. Now they're $8 billion. And essentially, as a pricing strategy, I was looking at different product lines and apparel lines. And what I would have to do is essentially just look at opportunities, right, for them and their pricing. And so I went to a lot of different areas and just looked at different things. And there was always, ways for me to switch around the products, ways for me to, suggest. Sometimes I did suggest some ticket decreases relative to the other products that were in the line, but also recommended ticket increases, right? Sometimes it just recommended the ticket stay the same, the pricing stayed the same. But it all varied depending on the product, it all varied depending on the season and all that jazz. And so it's one of those things where these 3 lessons that we talked about here tonight are, when you remember them, they'll change the game for you and your business when you're thinking about pivoting or switching up for the next year. And at the end of the day, it's really looking at, we're going to recap, right? 1 is that it takes the same energy to sell $1 as it does 1,000, right? And so don't sell yourself short. That's pretty much it. Don't sell yourself short. Number 2, make sure you're putting yourself in a range that you are comfortable saying, right? Make sure you're putting yourself in a price that you are comfortable with, and with like a little bit, maybe slight discomfort, but essentially ensuring that you are not going too high or too low. And number 3, competition at the end of the day does not matter, right? What matters the most is your marketing and your sales and your positioning of your brand and your company and your business and the value and the impact and the mission that you have, right? That will then attract the right people who are willing then to invest in what it is that you have to offer. That's what it comes down to. And so with those lessons, let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. If you are looking for support and help in really the pricing and packaging of your business, and also in developing the right, ensuring that you have the right business plan to revive, grow, and scale your business in this upcoming year, by all means, you're welcome to reach out and either LinkedIn or Facebook. And also, applications, as I mentioned, are open to the Hustle and Breathe Business Accelerator to work with me exclusively one-on-one. VanessaZammy.com. So check out that, VanessaZammy.com, and I'll put the links in the comments as well. And if you are looking for a deeper dive into more information on how to unstuck your income, how to find the time to do it all, how to actually plan for marketing success, I do have a premier masterclass called How to Grow a Purpose-Driven Business Without Burnout and Without Overwhelm. You're welcome to check that out. We're going to the top 3 secrets when it comes to time management, marketing, and business development as well. So if you're looking to make 2022 your best year yet, you don't want to miss this masterclass. Next one is coming up next week. And I put the link in the comments as well too. So thebusinessdefibrillator.com/December. It's a really long title. So just look at the link in the comments. Or if you're watching on YouTube, the link in the description of the YouTube channel, right below the subscription button that you've already pressed, right? Yes, you have. With that being said, have a lovely evening. And for those celebrating the holidays, have a wonderful holiday season and time with family and friends. And for those celebrating the New Year, well, actually, we have another episode happening next week, so I'll tell you Happy New Year then. But with that being said, have a lovely holidays and enjoy the rest of your week. Chat soon.